Hey everybody, what is the greatest thing about Zbrush4R8? Obviously that would have to be live Boolean. You can take any object you want to and subtract it from another. So we've got a sphere right here, and if we duplicated it, Control-Shift-D, okay, now, wait, hold on. Control-Shift-D, okay, now it has been duplicated. Now we can move it over, and we can have live Boolean turned on, and then subtract it, and now we can cut out from that shape, and we can get very complicated, and we can have multiple instances of what we want to cut out additional geometry and really get crazy. Let's subtract this one as well, and you can get really complicated with this. But one thing I've noticed is that when you are trying to make really complicated 3D things, which you can, eventually you've got to worry about this arrow. So when you live Boolean down here, make Boolean mesh that combines everything that you can see and can't see into one mesh. But if you had multiple parts you wanted to group or have different like subtools, and not just one big huge mesh, you would have to come up here and be like, okay, I want my arm to start right here, and everything below it needs to be one mesh, and then right here I want everything to be below it and under, and that is really complicated, or it can get very complicated, and all of that stuff is not things you need to worry about. So let's delete our little scene right here. Okay, now this is a robot that I am trying to make, right? And I have just made this with simple shapes, and using live Boolean add and subtract, I've been able to make something that looks fairly cool. Now if I live Boolean this down here, Boolean open, make Boolean mesh, that would flatten my 3D objects into one subtool. And that's nice, but I want different parts to my objects. So you can take all the time you want to with any of your live Boolean objects to make them however you want them to be, and as complicated as you want, all over the place. But when you want a new subtool, instead of worrying about, making that a start and then everything else below it, and that can get very complicated. So you just need to have a space between your different objects. So in this scene right here, I want this area to be one object. Right here is going to be another one, and this will be the leg object, and sorry, this will be the leg object, and this will be, I don't know, whatever comes above that. And then here is my foot, pretty complicated and really cool. And then I wanted the toes to be separate, right? So if you notice, there is a gap between all these objects and these objects. So really cool stuff. Now if I wanted to try and use all the different orders of operation with the subtool stuff over here, that would be very complicated. But all I need to do is make sure there is a little space between the subtools that I want in my scene. So if we make Boolean mesh right now, it is going to flatten everything, right, leaving this scene intact, but then giving us a new one. Okay, right here. Now this is just one subtool. But hold on, I didn't want one subtool. I wanted 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, now to get around this, super easy. Now this information has to be shared with everybody. So if you like what you see, please share this video with everybody, because I stumbled on this idea just the other day, and it's really powerful. So let's first come down to the toes area. Okay, so right here, I don't want any masks. Now Control Shift, click and drag. Now right about there is where it stops. Now we have isolated just the toe section. Now I come down to split hidden, and now we effectively have two subtools. If we hide the other one, we have this big old disaster right here, and then we've got our toe. So if we isolate just our foot or toe, now we can turn that off, Control Shift D, and rotate this around the foot. Nice. And move it around. Control Shift D. Totally awesome. Okay. So now we've got 3 toes. Now this is really powerful. Let's turn these toes off. Oh wait, I turned the wrong one off. Okay, that's off, and then this needs to be on. Okay, now we can worry about the rest. So probably what will be easier is to get rid of this guy in the middle. Let's Control Shift. Yeah, Control Shift. No, wait, hold on. I'm going to just Control. I've got a lasso selected. Let's deselect that. Now click and drag. I want to just select this guy. Oh man. Right there. Now Control click to invert. Now we can move this around freely. Okay, that's good. Now Control Shift, select that. Now just like before, let's go to split and split hidden. Now we've got this section cut off from the rest of the mesh. So now let's move on to this section. Control Shift, select, split hidden. Awesome. Now that has been removed from that craziness we had. Now let's see what do we have left. We've got just 2 parts. Awesome. So this will be really easy. Control Shift, click. Now we've got that selected. Now split hidden. Awesome. So now we have everything isolated like we wanted to. And normally if I had 600 different subtools, which let's go back up to 74 subtools, that is what this scene consisted of. It's too crazy to think of, you know, okay, I want a group right there, and I want a group right there, a group right here, okay, right here obviously, and then, oh yeah, that's where the foot starts, right here, and I'm really smart, so probably right there too. That is just stuff you don't need to worry about. If you follow my steps and you don't worry about how many layers you have and different subtools and where they go and things like that. Just add and subtract as you want, and then live Boolean everything to make it 1, but leave a little bit of a space between the different areas that you want isolated, like this, for example, or this, or the beginning of the foot, leg, or the toe. That, if you leave just a little bit of space, you can split hidden, just like we did to subtract that and group it as you want later. Totally awesome. If anybody liked this video, please subscribe and tell people about this, because this is really, really, really cool. Let's start a brand new scene. Okay, project. Okay, I like this cube. Awesome. Okay, we're going to do it together. Oh, hold on. There are divisions here I need to get rid of. Okay. Right. Let's select this polycube. Oh, wait. Yeah. I had symmetry on. So, okay, now we've got a cube. We don't want smart subdivisions. Yeah. So now we've got a cube. Now, Control-Shift-D, and then move this around, scale it, and we've got live Boolean on. So now let's go up to Subtool, and let's subtract that. Okay, that looks good. Now Control-Shift-D to duplicate that, shrink it in several directions, and move it accordingly. Awesome. Now I want that to be an additive, so let's Control-Shift-D, move that down, subtract that. Okay, that's what I'm going for. Control-Shift-D, switch to a different shape, shrink that, rotate it 90. Okay. A little bigger. Okay, Control-Shift-D. Now this doesn't make a lot of sense. I will probably never use this for anything. I'm just trying to illustrate what I've discovered. Okay, that's good. Control-Shift-D. Other side, good. Control-Shift-D. Cube. Move this around. And let's scale that up a little bit. Okay, now let's select that long tube and move this around. Okay, this is what I want my first subtool to be, right? And just to make it really fancy, let's make it a little bit more complicated. Right. And scale it up. Control-Shift-D. Control-Shift-D. And that's good. Wait, Control-Shift-D. I want to move this over here just so I can start the next phase of our object. Now, Alt-click on different subtools to highlight them or select them. Now let's subtract that, and subtract that, and this. Okay, this is what I want my first subtool to be. Now let's work on the second part. Okay. So for this I want a sphere. And let's make that a little bigger. Okay, now this is going to be separate, so I want a little bit of space. but it's going to connect probably like that. Okay, so I'm going to put it right here. Now Control-Shift-D. Let's shrink that and subtract it. Okay, I like that. Control-Shift-D. Wait, yeah, make sure it's selected. Let's change the shape of that to this. Shrink it. Move it around. Okay, doesn't have to be fancy right now. Control-Shift-D. Let's make this, it's crooked, but doesn't matter. Okay. Okay, that connects like that. Control-Shift-D and rotate 90 degrees. Stretch. Okay, Control-Shift-D. Let's pick another subtool. Cube. Awesome. One right there. One right here. Control-Shift-D. I want this to be really complicated, so right, and shrink this. Or wait, does that look good? No, let's go the other direction. Shrink it. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I like that. Control-Shift-D. Let's move that over. Awesome. Subtract that. Okay, now we need... I'm going to Control-Shift-D one more time. And move this over. Shrink this. Yeah, okay. Control-Shift-D. Nice. Now, let's move to the other side. Control-Shift-D. Right. One more time. Okay. Here is my second part. Now let's Control-Shift-D. I want to connect right about here. Let's select the cylinder. Stretch that. Good. Okay, this will connect like this, but I'm going to bring it out to about right here and then work on this shape. Duplicate it, resize it, Control-Shift-D, one more time. Move it down. Okay. Polycube, I like it. Move down. Let's Control-Shift-D. I'm going to move this up. And, okay, if we hide, the subtool right above it is what I want to, I want to merge those two objects. So, geometry, wait, what am I doing? Merge down. Okay, yeah, merge down. Okay. I don't know, let's step back a little bit. I don't want to do that. Let's delete that. Alt, click on this bigger cylinder, Control-Shift-D. Let's move up and change the shape of that. Cube, resize. Okay, Control-Shift-D. Let's just do this manually. Okay, Control-Shift-D. Rotate 90 degrees. Up. Okay. Right there. Control-Shift-D to the other side. Great. Okay, now I can subtract. Alt to select that one. Alt to select that one. And Alt to select this one. Awesome. Okay, now this scene could have been a lot more complicated. I could have had an idea of what I was trying to make. But as you can see, I have one object right there, one object right here, and one object right here. I want those to be their own subtool, but I want to Boolean them down into one object and then separate them later. Because otherwise, if these were all connected, right, this, let's see, yeah, rectangle, if this top piece was connected to this, and then this piece was connected to this, somewhere in this subtool stack, I would be like, okay, probably right here I need to start another group, and then, okay, right down here, that is where the next one starts, and then this is where that one starts, and then I would just cross my fingers that everything worked, and sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't, but this is so much easier, and it is 100%, because if you flatten everything right now, you don't have to worry about any subtools, because you can visually see which subtools you have and where they need to be and where they need to connect. Really, really awesome. Again, if you know anybody that uses ZBrush, pass this information along, because it is super useful. Using this method that I'm teaching right now, you can make any shape in the world. You could make complicated, mechanical creatures or warriors or any type of object you want to create. You could create using this method. So let's see, how many subtools do I have? 32. That's a good amount. Let's go to Boolean, make Boolean mesh, and it will flatten everything. Union remeshing in progress. Okay, everything has been calculated and is good. So now we have one mesh. But I wanted different meshes, right? So just like previously, let's do this one thing at a time. Control Shift rectangle. Let's drag out. I want this to be by itself. So I'm going to isolate that. Then split. What do I want to split? Let's see, split hidden. I want to split whatever is not being shown. So let's, just so we can see this, split. Now we have two subtools. That one that is by itself, and now we've got these two, which could be really, really complicated and super intense. But I want these two separated now, so how do I do that? Let's see. Probably right here. Control Shift, click and drag. Now we've isolated just this. Okay, wait, is that connected? Yeah, I think so. Awesome. Okay, that is by itself. So, not delete. That's funny. I can't undo that. That's so sad. Why did I do that? I deleted my. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's start over. Delete that. Let's go back to what we had previously. Rewind. Let's start over. This will be a nice refresher for everybody. This is what we started out with, right? Now I'm going to. I clicked the wrong button. Ugh. Okay, let's go close split. Let's go to Boolean. I want to make Boolean mesh this object. Luckily, it creates another one. Just in case something like that happens, you aren't lost. You've got your original objects that you can do all this stuff again. So, okay, here's our new mesh, right? One object, just like before. Control Shift, select the first one, move down, and carefully select Split, Split Hidden. Select the next batch. Let's hide that just to make things easier. Control Shift, click this area, Split Hidden, and now we've got everything all by itself. Awesome. So, if we expose, kind of weird. It was already exposed, but that doesn't matter. Let's undo that. Now we've got three objects. So let's see. I'm going to move them by themselves. Okay, this looks like an arm, so I'm going to rename this one arm. Good. And then this one, that looks like a head. Yeah, so I'm head. Okay, then let's select the next one, and let's make that the leg. Rename leg. Now everything is nicely organized, and there are no issues. Totally cool. Now let's move these around. Okay, we've got our leg. Let's move that about right there. Good. Move it over here. Wait. Oh, it looks. Wait. Okay, that could be the foot, right? So I'm going to move that right there and up. Okay, then Control Shift D. Now we've duplicated leg, and we named it so it's easy to recognize. Leg 1. That's the second leg. Good. They are in place. Then Alt select this subtool. This is the arm. So let's see. If that was the arm, then that is at rest. No. Right. Let's do that. That works. Okay. Good. That is in a good spot. Control Shift B. We've got arm 1. That is our second arm. Let's go down to deformation. Mirror X. Let's see if that. Yep. That's it. And then move that to where it needs to be. It's sticking out right there. So let's move to the top. Alt, click and drag to move this where we need it, and move that up. Awesome. Okay, now we've got our nice little robot that is carefully named. So if we hold Alt, I'm not sure what this middle subtool is called, so I'm going to Alt click to select it. Subtool, yeah, that is going to be our head. And then what is this creature over here? That's an arm. This is our other arm. This is our leg, and this is our other leg. Awesome, totally cool. So this can be as complicated as you want it to be. One good use of doing this, all the processes that I've been talking about in this video, is probably geared towards video games. If you wanted to make different assets or creatures or anything that you could put into a game, you could use this to make subtools that were not too big for texture maps. If I had a big, huge, complicated mesh, big, huge, and I wanted to put like different materials on it and things like that, it gets complicated because then, sometimes objects are too big for just one texture map. And if you use this, you could cut things up into smaller bite-sized pieces. So this would be a lot easier to fit one texture map on. And so with this, and this, and this, and this. And then you could export that to your game, and everything would be golden. Again, if you like this video, or you know anybody that would benefit from this, this is revolutionary stuff. I'm going to have more videos talking about what I've learned here. And please, please like and share, comment below. And if you want me to make things that you've always wanted to make, but it's too complicated because you have something like, yes, you could even make this stuff. Not legs, but oh, that's, I had Silo on, but yeah, you could even make something as complicated as this, and you flatten everything down and then hope that you grouped everything correctly. That is just way too much work. Let's see, right there, and I'm not exactly sure. And that just takes too much time. If you created all of this with live Boolean, add, subtract, and then eventually you moved the different things you wanted to be separated out just a little bit, you could Boolean everything, and yeah, make Boolean mesh. Okay, where'd it go? Oh, there's 4 in there because I made different groups, but you could Boolean everything, right? Let's Boolean that one more time just to make things nicer. Okay, now we've got one object. If we Booleaned everything and everything was spaced out just enough, you could isolate them and then split hidden for every part of the object. So if I wanted these to be their own mesh, I would isolate them kind of like that. The leg, I'd, make that its own separate subtool. Maybe I would want a lot of detail in just this, so I could do that one. And definitely the frontal area, something like that, yeah. Now, that just doesn't work right here because it's not separated. But if it was, it would be super easy. So yes, thanks for watching and have a great day.